Hey guys, Tech Jazz here. Alright, so when you think about printers, you probably think about those regular desktop-sized units sitting in the corner of your office, or maybe a compact wireless one for your home setup. But the HP DesignJet T210 isn't one of those. This is a large format plotter printer, 24 inches wide, and it's built for architects, engineers, designers, or anyone who needs massive, detailed prints with precision. And the thing about this particular printer is that HP has tried to take something that's usually bulky, industrial looking, and intimidating, and actually make it compact, approachable, and modern. So let's dive into what makes this new model interesting. Right out of the box, the first thing you notice is its size. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still a large format printer, but compared to other plotters in this category, the T210 has a surprisingly compact footprint. It's about 40 inches wide, 17 inches tall, and only 11 inches deep. That's slim for a machine that handles roll media up to 24 inches wide. And this is important because most people using it might not have an entire studio or dedicated print room. HP clearly designed this thing so it can fit into a modern office, a shared workspace, or even a home studio if you're working in design or architecture. It doesn't feel like a giant machine taking over your space. It feels sleek, practical, and intentional. Now, the media handling on this is where it shines for professionals. You've got support for roll feed, sheet feed, and it includes an automatic horizontal cutter. That means if you're printing maps, posters, or technical drawings, you don't need to manually trim every single output. And if you grab the optional automatic sheet feeder, you can even handle up to 13 by 19 inch sheets. For someone printing a mix of full-width blueprints and then smaller posters or layouts, this is a huge time saver. And it doesn't just stop there. The printer can auto-detect and switch between different media without forcing you to load and unload manually for every project. That's one of those things that doesn't sound like much until you're on your 20th print job of the day and realize how much time it actually saves. HP also really leaned into making this printer cost-effective. One of the standout things they mention is that it uses 95% less ink for routine maintenance compared to other competitor plotter printers. Ink is usually the hidden cost of ownership with these machines, so if you're printing at scale, like dozens of A1 drawings a week, those savings add up fast. And paired with HP 712 genuine ink cartridges, you're not only getting efficiency but also accuracy. Because at the end of the day, what matters most with large format prints is precision. You want your text crisp, your lines sharp, and your color consistent. The T210 does exactly that with a 2400 by 1200p resolution, which is more than enough for technical line drawings, sewing patterns, and poster quality output. When it comes to print speed, you're looking at about 45 seconds per page for A1/D size. That works out to roughly 59 prints per hour, which isn't the fastest on the market, but given the target audience of architects, engineers, and designers, it's fast enough without sacrificing quality. You don't want speed to come at the cost of detail, and HP seems to have balanced that well here. There's also 500 megabytes of onboard memory, which helps with handling bigger, more complex files without stalling mid-print. Let's talk about the software side because this is where HP tries to make printing less frustrating. They include HP Click software, which basically simplifies the entire process. You can drag and drop files, whether they're PDFs, JPEGs, DIFs, PNGs, even DWF and HPGL/2 files, and print them without worrying about compatibility issues. It checks for errors, nests files automatically to save paper, and lets you predefine settings for repeat jobs. For someone who just wants to hit print and not deal with 100 dialog boxes, this is genuinely useful. And then there's the HP Smart App, which lets you manage print jobs from literally anywhere. Imagine you're out of the office, a client emails you asking for a full-size render for tomorrow's meeting, you can send it directly from your phone or laptop to the printer, and by the time you get back, it's waiting. That's the kind of workflow efficiency that professionals value. Connectivity is covered too. You've got Gigabit Ethernet for a hardwired setup, high-speed USB 2.0, and Wi-Fi 802.11b/g/n. That flexibility means it doesn't matter if you're running a traditional office network or a home studio, you can plug it in, hook it up wirelessly, or even run direct via USB if you prefer. And since it supports Android, Apple AirPrint, Chrome OS, Windows, and Mac OS, you're not going to hit compatibility walls. This makes it a very versatile option for mixed device environments. Design-wise, it's not flashy, but that's a good thing. It's minimal and blends into most professional environments. There's a small LCD touchscreen for easy navigation, and while it's not a huge panel, it's responsive and functional. You're not going to spend much time fiddling with it anyway because most of the heavy lifting is done through HP Click or the Smart app. And while this is a printer built for professionals, HP hasn't ignored support. You get a 1-year limited hardware warranty and access to HP's large format printing experts. For many small businesses or freelancers, having that support channel matters because these machines are not the type of thing you just swap out if something breaks. You need them running reliably. Power consumption is surprisingly low too, only about 6 watts, which is good if you're conscious about energy use. And while it doesn't support duplex, double-sided, printing, that's not really a deal breaker since most large format printing jobs don't require it anyway. So who is this for? If you're in technical fields like architecture, engineering, construction, or even fashion design where sewing patterns come into play, this is an affordable and reliable way to bring large format printing in-house. Instead of outsourcing every blueprint or poster, you're cutting costs and saving time. Students in design programs could benefit too, though the price point might be a bit high for casual use. Still, for small firms and independent professionals, it's a solid investment. The bottom line, the HP DesignJet T210 takes a category of printer that's usually intimidating, overly complex, and expensive to run, and makes it approachable, compact, and cost-efficient without compromising on precision or quality. It's not trying to be the fastest large format printer, and it doesn't need to be. It's designed to be practical, reliable, and accessible for the professionals who need it most. So yeah, if your workflow depends on high-quality, large format prints, and you want something that doesn't require a huge learning curve or constant maintenance headaches, the T210 is worth considering. HP clearly thought about the little details here: ink efficiency, drag-and-drop software, app control, compact footprint, and those add up to a machine that actually makes sense in today's modern workspace.